What is up, everyone? StonePost34 bringing you more of Growing Up with StonePost. Yes, it's back again. Real quick, I was complaining about the hit detection. Well, I've been complaining about it for months, and I figured out the way to solve it. Run around with a knife. And you don't have to worry about hit detection. Actually, I take that back. There's a couple spots in this game where I'm like, really? Come on, Treyarch. But anyway, this story is about... actually, it's a period of my life that was after college when I was a young professional and had a roommate. And we got along okay. He was really the only guy that I knew that either wasn't married or wasn't living in his parents' basement. So him and I decided to get an apartment. And we got an apartment in the town I still live in now. And we're friends on Facebook, but I don't know if that makes us friends anymore. Because it didn't end well, let's put it that way. And I'll get to that. So, this story is about my roommate Chris. And we called him Chrissy, we called him Pissy, we called him everything just because you could get under his skin pretty easy. And this is a story about making him eat goldfish, and then I'll kind of tell you how or why we even had goldfish in the house. So, him and I, back in the day, we were avid fishermen. We get up every Saturday that we didn't have to work, or Sunday, even weekdays, at like 6, and we go fish. In my town, we have a spillway where the dam is, and it flows out, and we'd catch channel cat. And then we had a farmer that we were friends with that would allow us to stock the channel cat into his pond, and it was overrun with bass, so we'd take all the bass out. So you could eat bass. It's okay. We ate it. And there was no length limits because it was a private pond. So we'd just pull them out, and we'd either take them over to his dad's house and clean them, or we'd clean them on our own and eat them. Well, we got the bright idea that if you truly want to test out fishing lures, you need to, perhaps have some fish to test them on. So we bought a 55-gallon fish tank, and we set it up in our living room in our apartment, and we put the bass in it. So we had like 6 bass in our apartment, and to feed the bass you have to buy feeder fish, so like minnows or goldfish. Well, Chris basically went and bought all these fish. We lived there for over a year, about a year and a half, and Chris would go buy them. We'd feed the fish. It was hysterical. I mean, it's just a feeding frenzy. You could drop 12 minnows in there, and they would be gone in about 2 seconds. It was hysterical. It was fun to watch. So we go out one night, and my brother's in town from Chicago. His name's Chris also. And we go play pool. And my buddy, Chris, not my brother, he's like ordering beer. We had to rent the table by the hour, all sorts of things. Well, it comes to the end of the day, he says, I don't have any money. I said, well, you forgot your wallet. He's like, no, I don't have any money. I'm like, dude. I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, he was notoriously broke all the time. Spent lavish amount of money on his girlfriend that he didn't need to. He just liked to spend money he didn't have. So I'm kind of upset at this point, because I'm responsible. And so we get back to our apartment. We're jacking around, fishing in the living room, and playing some video games. We're playing the original PlayStation, and we're playing Madden. And this kid could not beat me at Madden. He hated it. And I think I had like a 100-game winning streak on him. So anyway, that's another story. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, Chris, dude, when are you going to get the money? When do you get paid next? He's like, well, I don't get paid till next Friday. I'm like, God. I said, here's the deal. I think he owed me like $12, $15. I said, for every dollar you owe me, you have to eat a goldfish. He said, what? I said, yeah, you have to eat a goldfish. Of course, we've been drinking at this point. I said, yeah, you have to eat a goldfish. He goes, dude. I said, well, I don't know how you're going to pay me otherwise. He goes, all right, I'll do it. And he literally sat there in the living room, and this is where, look at that, hit detection. 15 goldfish or whatever. Didn't he get sick to his stomach? I figured he would. I mean, it's kind of nasty water. And, he swallowed them all whole. So here's where we had the falling out. I mean, that's kind of a funny story, but here's where we had the falling out. So I got transferred to Indiana. You've heard those stories, I'm sure, about me dating an older lady in Indiana. So I get transferred to Indiana. I negotiated a deal with my company that they'll continue to rent my apartment because I was still in a lease. So they would pay my rent, and I'd also have a place to stay when I came back in town. And so they did that, and also I negotiated 4 airfare, 4 plane tickets, laptop, all sorts of things. And this was in the late '90s, so that was kind of a big deal. Cell phone. So I negotiated all this stuff into my contract, and I would just send my check to Mike, who was my landlord. I just sent him a check every month. Well, we're coming down. The lease was over in July. We're coming down. It's like middle of June. I just remember it was summer, and my landlord calls me, and I'm in Indiana. He says, "Hey, Greg, I appreciate you sending the checks, and utilities were included too, so we had to pay that overage." He goes, "But Chris hasn't paid for 2 months." I'm like, "Oh my, are you serious?" I'm just like furious. I mean, because I'm not there, I guess he thinks he doesn't have to pay. I don't get it. So I drove back one weekend. Didn't tell him that I knew. Stay at the place, and I'm like, "Chris, what's going on? Are you paying the rent?" "Oh yeah, I told Mike I'm a little late," and just BS galore. And he basically was about our rent was it wasn't much. I think it was like $525, and he was about $500 past due in rent and utilities. So it was about 2 months of stuff. And I said, "Man, you got to get that figured out. We got a deposit that I'm planning on getting back, and you got to get it figured out." So basically, I went and I told his girlfriend what was going on. I don't know if it's a douche move, but I'm just like, dude, you got to be responsible. You can't be spending crazy amounts of money on her when you don't have it. And then his boss was my old boss, and I went and said, "Hey, if you can get Chris any more overtime or whatever." That's how we met. We worked together. That'd be great. He's about $500 back on rent and utilities, and he's got to get this figured out. And I said, he's dragging me down. And we were good friends, too, at the time. So, long story short, he got it figured out, and we don't really talk anymore. He knew that he kind of crossed the line with me, and, I believe in being responsible and taking care of your stuff. And he knew that he was in deep doo-doo with me. So, I don't know. We're still kind of friends. So anyway, guys, that is the Growing Up with Stone Post. I've been doing the Payday 2. I don't know if people like that or not. I don't know. I'm just it's kind of fun to play. It's a little bit different. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 will be the next game that you see on this channel. So appreciate you guys watching, and take care as always. This is Stone Post 34.